This is an LA Times Studios podcast.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Living Well. Today, we are tackling a big topic, and that is protein. We're always trying to figure out how to get more of it in our day and in our diet. And to help us break that all down, it's founder Courtney McHugh of an amazing new company, really interesting breakthrough product, Amplify P24. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to talk.
We have so much to get through.
Yes.
But tell us first, what is Amplify? How did you come to create it? And what motivated you to launch this really unique product called P24?
Thank you. Well, thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here to talk about it all day. Off the bat, I always like to address that I am not a scientist or an enzyme scientist, but we have two amazing enzyme scientists and molecular biologists who studied this enzyme and created it about 6 years ago with the intention to not just design another protein product, but design a product that helped the protein that we're already eating. And so they set out to figure out, how can we make protein more digestible and absorbable for people? They started with plant protein. Plant protein is actually really difficult to break down for the body. It's a defense mechanism plants have. So they studied this family of enzymes they knew could help hydrolyze protein, which means break it down. And so over the course of 5 years, they developed our protein enzyme, which is proprietary patented technology that does just that. It cuts protein down so you're able to absorb more of it. About 2 years ago, I met with these scientists. They're based out of UC Davis, which is known in the food and agriculture space for emerging technology in food and nutrition. And they were like, we have this amazing enzyme. It can be used on all sources of protein, so not just plant. It can be plant, whey protein, meat protein, and it cuts it so you can absorb, in some cases, 3 times more protein from something you're already eating. So it's not just about consuming more, right? Which feels like that's all you hear about when you talk about protein right now. They're like, how do we figure out how to bring this to market? And so that's where I spent the past 18 months with the team, creating a product that could integrate into someone's life very easily and not require them to eat more protein, but already eat the protein they're eating and get more from it.
So what makes Amplify P24 different than anything else out there?
A few things. So if you look at the supplement market, a lot of what is their proprietary formula is off-the-shelf ingredients that have been around for 10, 20 years. And what's special to them is the way they formulate it and put it into the capsules. So like they take zinc and they take magnesium and they take vitamin C and they put it all together in a capsule. And that delivery system in the capsule is a lot of the times what is proprietary to them. Ours is one ingredient. It's P24, which is named for, it's a family of enzymes that work on protein. It's the 24th one in the sequence, and P for protease or for protein. So that's where the name came from. But our capsule has that one ingredient, and it's proprietary. So we have a patent in blood glucose, which means if our enzyme in a study helped level out your blood glucose levels after you eat, which helps not have that spike, right? That spike in a blood glucose level is what you don't want, and then maintains that level for that blood glucose so you don't have those drops, right? Which is what gives you that like hunger and you like, don't feel good. So we are differentiated in that we are really a novel product and not a novel ingredient and have patents to support that. And additionally, if you look at the enzyme or digestive enzyme category, a lot of the times that turns on or starts lower in your smaller intestine. You want your digestion to start at the top, at your stomach. The second your food hits your digestive system, you want it to start breaking it down because that's when you get those amino acids. That's when you get the most out of it into your bloodstream. So if it's later, it just turns into waste, right? It goes through your system and you don't actually pull out what you need to. But most digestive enzymes there's a lot of acidity in your stomach at the top. It can't turn on or start until it gets lower because
Sure.
it kills the enzyme. Where ours is actually acid activated. So the acid in your
Oh,
stomach gets it going right away, which is why you want to take it at the beginning of your meal. So it
okay.
turns on and it gets your digestive system working, which is how you're absorbing 2-3 times more protein from that meal because ours is very different than anything else that is currently out there. So it's very special in that sense and very different from other things like it.
Certainly a far cry from the bodybuilding protein bar at the checkout counter.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is what I was like, protein in a bar.
Or a digestive enzyme where you're like, cool, this will help me
Yeah.
not have bloating. Yes, but so much more.
Oh, so much more. I love this idea like of reframing this so it's not just about packing more protein, but to increase the absorption into your body.
Exactly. Yep. So it's really about it's not consuming more grams, but absorbing more grams. And I like to start with we actually don't absorb all the protein we eat, which I
Okay.
think is very new information for some people.
Sure.
If we start with women, as we age, we lose the ability to break down protein and absorb it, especially as we hit perimenopause and menopause, right? So estrogen is a wonderful hormone that helps with muscle synthesis and it helps you break down protein. Well, after the age of 35, we have a steep decline in estrogen. So it is difficult for our body to continue to break down protein and absorb of it. But then the special added layer is, but as we age, it gets even more important to absorb that protein because it's key not just to muscle, which I think is what is so associated with protein, right? Protein, muscle.
Right.
But it's the building block in everything else: hair, skin, nails, anti-inflammatory system, immunity. So if you can't absorb the protein you're eating, then it's not doing what it needs to do.
Sure.
So we think of ourselves as the unlock. We're the bridge between the food you're eating and the building block to what your body is doing with that food. It's fuel, right? That's why we eat. We love to eat because it tastes yummy, but it also fuels your body to do the things that it needs to do to be its optimal self. And so when women start to age, they lose that ability to break down the protein. So you're sitting there, you're looking at the shelves, and you're like, okay, I know I need to get 100 grams of protein today, and I'm going to count with this whey protein shake and this piece of chicken. And really, you're doing yourself a disservice because it's not just, don't ask yourself, am I getting enough protein, but are you absorbing it? Is your body able to actually take what you're eating and turn it into fuel for what it needs to do?
Just one of the many joys of perimenopause. Like I'm also not getting enough protein and I have to count how much I'm getting, but I'm actually not getting that much. So what about for people who are not or will never sort of enter perimenopause or menopause, like men?
Yeah.
What are signs maybe that you have a protein deficiency? Are there signs or?
There are.
Okay.
Great question on men and women, by the way. Men start to degrade the amount of testosterone they have in their body, which is also key to breaking down muscle. So this is a product that is for men and women and people of various ages. But I like to highlight the fact that it's an amazing product for women as they enter that stage. Now, you also asked,
are there deficiencies? Like, are there signs of deficiencies? And also like between men and women, like do we lose protein similarly or differently? And like, are there different signs in men and women?
There's no take-home test for am I protein deficient. A lot of this, there's a few that you could do with your doctor, which, if you take a blood test and do certain biomarkers, can also do, which is not something common, like measure your nitrogen levels, which is like the amount of nitrogen you absorb after eating protein versus how much you excrete. And then if there's an imbalance, that's like a very highly scientific way.
Right.
You and I aren't going to go home and do a nitrogen level test. But what you can do is pay attention to the signs. So again, hair, skin, nails. Do you have brittle nails? Do you have thinning hair? Are you fatigued? Is it if you're weightlifting, does it take a while to recover? What is your muscle recovery patterns? Are you sleeping well? So actually, protein plays a huge role in sleep, right? It's your ability to get into a deeper sleep, and your body isn't working as hard, and it's repairing and rebuilding at night. So your body's ability to rest and get into a restful state to do that is directly connected to protein. So it's difficult to figure out if you're deficient, right? You have to pay attention to those signs, and all those signs could also be a sign of something else.
Sure.
But that's why it's really a key to like your holistic health. I think it's not one simple test, but it's a check-in with your body.
Sure.
And then thinking about what are all the things that I could do to help myself be healthier. So it's not a simple equation of if you're protein deficient.
Sure.
It's really also about your goals. Are you weightlifting? Are you
Mm-hmm.
are you an athlete? This product is really great for anybody who's a performance athlete and is like really sitting there trying to make sure that they get a workout in 7 days a week or are building muscle.
Mm-hmm.
That is also something that you should consider this product for as you think about what your protein goals are.
That's so important to note, to really think about this holistically, because I think
Yeah.
culturally right now we're hearing a lot about women, especially in middle age, having to do more weightlifting. I can't leave my
Yes.
house without seeing, myself included, without a woman in a weighted vest. And I don't think it's a trend. I think it is
Yeah.
probably here to stay, that we should be doing not just all cardio, but doing more weights. So I think we're at a sort of a time too that we're learning more about that and how it's helping our bone density and our muscle mass and keep more muscle on as we age. So something like P24 would certainly be complementary to that sort of daily regimen or daily workout routine.
Yeah. And look, I read this somewhere and it hit really home, is your ability to maintain independence as you age. Now, granted, that's not at like 35 or 40, but just think ahead. Your ability to maintain independence as you age is directly correlated to your muscle mass and your strength. So your ability to continue to do things on your own, and that doesn't start when you're 70 and you're like,
Sure.
well, I'm going to pick up weights now, right? It starts now when you
Yeah.
start to really get into your late 30s, your
Right.
40s, your 50s.
Right.
And so that's why they talk about, it isn't new, but it's like what is new is how we really think about our lifespan and how we age healthier and not just longer, but live a healthier existence
The
longer.
longevity
It's a longevity
aspect.
game. So that's an investment in your health earlier on. And that's why it's lifting weights specifically for women. We start with less lean muscle to begin with. So we're already having to build more if you compare to men, I'm saying.
Sure.
And we lose our ability to build muscle about 5% every year as we age. So that's why you're hearing it now. It's not new information, but I think it's great that it's in the zeitgeist of like wear a weighted vest. Don't do crazy hard workout like cardio workouts. Pay attention to doing like light weights. If that is key to maintaining like independence as we age, building strength, keeping your muscle up, but that's all tied to your intake of protein and your ability to lift weights. And again, you're not absorbing all the protein you eat as you get older. So a product like Amplify P24, which is going to take the protein you're eating, allow you to absorb more of it, is going to be a key role in your ability to maintain muscle mass and build that lean muscle that you need as you age.
Walk me through where this fits in my day. Like tell us like when you take it and like kind of why you take it when you do take it.
Yes, we tried to. I was really thoughtful, and the team was really thoughtful about how do we make this simple for everybody. It feels like there's one more thing all the time. So it fits into your everyday routine. Take it once a day with your largest protein intake of that day, whether that be in the morning with eggs or a protein shake, or at night with fish or chicken or beef or tofu. But take it once a day with your largest meal and take it accumulatively. So if you think about protein intake isn't just about, did I get enough grams of protein that day? It's, are you getting enough protein over time? So your body is, having the most nutritional value in its body over time. So it's an accumulative effect of taking this once a day with your largest meal, and you'll start to see the effects of what happens when you can absorb more protein, and not only that, but when you can digest it better, right? So we've made it a form factor like a capsule. We've played around with what are the different ways you could take it. Would it be a protein shake? Would it be a powder? And we're developing, I think, fun product forms to make it easy, but it's something that fits in your pocket. It's It's a small size capsule. So I also, if you look
I
at the
did
supplement
notice
site,
that.
yes.
It's like your little helper.
Yeah, it's your,
That's how
it's
I
your
look at
companion.
it.
We call it proteins plus one.
That.
Yes.
Like they're invited too.
They're invited to. They have a seat at the table, and it, optimizes.
It's going to make the party better.
It's going to make the party better.
More fun.
Yes.
Also, GLP-1s are a pretty ubiquitous medication that a lot of people are taking. How can Amplify P24 help or work with GLP-1s, or can it?
It can't. And GLP-1s, it's a great companion product to that, right? So when you're on a semaglutide or any GLP-1 drug, it suppresses your appetite, right? So you're not eating as much. In addition to that, you're losing fat at a rapid rate. And in order to do that, your body will eventually start to eat away at your muscle mass too. So you're going to start to lose. A lot of people who are on GLP-1s will notice they're losing weight, but they're also losing their lean muscle. And when you're also having appetite suppressant, you're not eating as much. So your protein intake automatically is decreased, and the meals that you're eating, you want to make the most of it. So anyone who's on a GLP-1, I recommend they take this. They are probably also, their doctor is recommending they're on a high protein diet. Additionally, a lot of the times when you're on those drugs, they can give you stomach pains or cramping, or it's hard. Their digestive system is slower. Right. So you're like, you can be bloated or just feel like your food isn't moving through your system in the proper way. So this is a great companion to that, to jumpstart your digestion, which is what it does. It amplifies your digestion, hence the name.
I know. What are some signs that it's working? And also, how long would you maybe recommend, give or take, somebody try this, implement it before they might start seeing changes? And what might some of those changes be? So
typically I suggest anyone after a week, stay on it consistently. So once a day for a week, you'll start to notice better digestive system, deeper sleep. And really then after a 14-day period is when you can start to see the impact in a bigger way, which is, I suggest anyone who wears an Oura ring, if you track your sleep, you will notice 20, 30 minutes deeper sleep, which over time, right? If you had 30 minutes more of deeper REM sleep over a period of a week, your energy levels go up, your skin looks better. That's not a byproduct of this capsule. That's a byproduct of absorbing a right amount of protein, which is what Amplify does. And it also, we should talk about the fact that, you're absorbing more protein, but you're absorbing the right part of that protein.
What does that mean?
Yeah. So protein there's different sources of protein that are rated better or worse, meaning what's the ability to access what's in that protein. Protein is made up of peptides and amino acids. Amino acids is what goes into your bloodstream, and that's what then helps your muscles do what it needs to do, your anti-inflammatory, all the things that you're intaking protein for, immune system, bones, all of that comes from the amino acids you get from protein, and that goes into your bloodstream. Well, in order to get it into your bloodstream, you have to break the protein down. So if you're working backwards from there, so to get it into your bloodstream, you got to break it down. To break it down, your body has to be able to cut it up, which is the hydrolyzing. That's what we do. We're breaking that protein down so you can absorb more of it. So chicken's a great source of protein, which means it's high in protein and it's high in bioaccessibility, meaning your body can access the yummy things in it, which is the amino acids and the peptides, fairly easily, depending on what kind of digester you are.
Right.
But you're still not going to absorb all that. So if you put P24 on that piece of chicken, you'll absorb 2 times more of the protein and the amino acids in that chicken, which that's the unlock right there. But that's across all sources of protein. So there's whey protein, for example, or pea protein is high in protein, but can be hard to access the
available protein, or the protein you want from it.
Exactly.
So you're saying essentially like not all protein is created equal.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Exactly.
And within the different types of protein and different sources of protein, there are better parts of that protein for your body.
Yep. So if you think about protein that's in those sources of protein as a string of pearls, you want to cut it. And as many cuts as you can so you can absorb those pearls. But you want to cut it in the exact right place so it releases the amino acids in there. That's why you're eating that protein. That's the part that's going to make your body better. And so our enzyme That's what it does. It cuts it up and then it releases those peptides and amino acids found in different sources of protein. And so if you go on our website, you can see we try and highlight that because tofu has different amino acids in it than maybe chicken, right? Or beef, right? So leucine's an amazing amino acid. But leucine is can be hard to access in certain pieces of protein. So like chicken, for example, has a lot of leucine in it, but if you don't absorb the chicken first off fast enough in your digestive system, so if you have a slower digestive system, it's gonna pass through you and you're not even gonna get the access to those amino acids. So P24 unlocks that chicken to get you that leucine, which helps with muscle building. Performance athletes can really get nerded out on this product because it's gonna allow you to get into like if you think about it, like those performance athletes are really obsessed with their like every gram of protein and every type of protein. If they get in there and have P24 with every meal that they have, they're going to access the certain amounts of amino acids that they want to be like a performance athlete. Or if you're like, I just want to eat my eggs and a piece of fish and get the most out of that because that enough is already difficult for me to sit down and figure out how to like make the eggs, make the fish, which is my life. But, you sit down and you eat. And I always feel like confident or like, okay, the least I can do today is take P24, have a good meal, and I know I'm going to make most of that meal.
You make the most of it.
Yeah, and after a week, I feel so much better, and I'm clear, and I love to work out. So part of my story too was I really got into weightlifting like 10 years ago, and it transformed my body. But then I had 2 kids, starting this company, and I definitely felt like I hit a wall. Like I couldn't build any more muscle, or it just felt like, you get in those lulls of working out. But I hit that wall and I started taking P24 when I was introduced to it, especially during the R&D period. And it made such a difference in my ability to recover from muscle soreness, which means I could work, like the next workout was more impactful. I wasn't as sore. And I was also getting amazing sleep.
Right.
I mean, those 2 things, if you fix for my life, makes it 10 to 15% better and more optimal. It amplifies your life. And so I bury the lead sometimes, but our scientists were awarded Nobel Prize last year for, which like no big deal, for the science that this was based off of. So our founder actually got to fly to Europe and be part of the ceremony. And to have a Nobel Prize winning product, especially in the supplement space where it feels like there's a new supplement every day.
Right.
And we are a supplement, we're a protein enzyme, but we are, forced into that aisle because it's if you think about the bench of supplements you take, we're part of that bench. And I think at some point how many can you actually take?
That's such an important distinction because you're just adding something more.
Right.
Right? You're filling a void where this is just rushing in to make something that's already there work better.
Exactly.
So
we're not adding something to your body. We're unlocking your body's ability to do something it already knows how to do. But unfortunately, it doesn't do it as well as you age. Or some people just aren't good digesters. We have a lot of customers who are not necessarily older, but are just younger and have Crohn's disease or stomachs or gut issues. There's a lot of reasons. And so we hear countless stories of like that where it's like, oh, my daughter has had such trouble, or is a plant-based diet.
Plant-based diet, or like we were talking about the rise of GLP-1s. I mean, that's not bound to a certain age. So then I will say, like when you talk about skepticism or whatever, when I did learn about this at first, I'm like, oh God, now I'm not getting enough protein too. I got to wear a weighted vest. I got to take creatine. I got to take, you're hearing about all these different wellness things. And I'm like, I didn't even think about protein.
Well, what you probably didn't think about is that you don't absorb all the protein you eat. It's about the absorption. You mentioned creatine. There's collagen, colostrum, all of those things. Colostrum, right? Which is made from milk, has a ton of protein in it. What better way to unlock what you're, again, already doing? You're investing in those supplements. You're investing in the time to work out. You're investing in taking whey or collagen or colostrum, and you're not absorbing it all. So this product, or creatine, right? Creatine's been around for 20 years. You've heard about it from men at Gold's Gym in the 90s, and they're on creatine. But now, actually, you're hearing about it for women. A lot of women have gotten on creatine, but it's not a complete protein. So creatine is a protein source, but it's not fully complete. So you're usually taking creatine, you're taking whey protein, but you're actually not able to break all of that down. So if you add P24 to that and you can get 20 to 30% or access more to what's in that piece of protein or supplement that you're taking, why not?
I like that it's helping. It's not adding. I mean, technically you have to like take it, but it's just one capsule a
Yeah.
day with your biggest meal or your more
It's like an
protein-heavy meal.
assurance, like a reassurance that the effort you're making in the food you're eating,
going further.
It's going further. It's unlocking that nutritional value. It's the bridge. It's the bridge between what you eat and what it actually does in your body, because there's a disconnect. The bridge could be short or long. It depends on what kind of digestive you are, what kind of health you're in. But what better way to bridge that gap between what you're putting into your body? And if we're talking about wellness trends, gut health and beauty from the inside out, all of that is not a trend. That is real. That is true. Like, so if you have a poor digestive system or poor gut health, the whole system breaks down. So P24 is a great tool to kind of bring that gut health back to a regulated state and to help it if it is a need,
Well, speaking of taking things further, going further, what other, like, are there other delivery systems or products that, Amplify is going to figure out in the protein absorption space, or is it all protein? That's your game.
We're a protein company, so I want this company to be somewhere where you can go for education and information for protein. So we're taking it in a few directions. We will continue to invest in clinical studies and research in the protein space, not just for our product, but for people to have information on where protein is and good sources of protein. So I want our website and our brand to be somewhere where you can go and learn something. We will also continue to develop the science and what this enzyme can do. And a strain of enzyme could be deployed in other products that we're developing, whether it be a fun form system like a gummy or an actual our own whey protein. But what also really excites me is there's a possibility and a way to bring this to help people that isn't just about a consumer product. But if we think about malnourished communities or areas in which access to good food and to protein is difficult, and they only have certain sources of protein that are, like we were talking about earlier, not all sources of protein are created equal. So you could be eating something that has a really poor, could have protein in it, but it's hard to access. If you put P24 in it and allow someone's meal in a malnourished community to go further, I think that's something that we dream of and are working with certain areas in the country and the world. And how can we bring P24 there to help those communities for the food that they're already eating?
That's a no-brainer.
That's a no-brainer. And we really, sometimes we started with the preface of like, how do you double the world's protein without using another acre of land? So there's also just like, how does that fundamentally drive us? So how are we helping the food system, which also like, don't get me started on how the food system's broken down and how we can't go back to sustainable farming and all of that. But if you think about how do we make protein go longer in this world and in our country and in our communities, that's where we think outside of just our product is a fun place to bring this product to help others.
Full body chills. Please do that.
Yeah, and especially aging demographics too, who are growing and get underdeveloped and don't have access to good sources of protein. We would love to figure out how we can help them and develop a program in which allows them to get access to that.
That's incredible, and that makes so much sense. And I love how you mentioned also like the environmental impact or lack of environmental impact that would have too, where it's really extending or adding nutrients and very important aspects to their growth and development without actually having to farm or tap the food system in any way.
Yeah, so the food system, if you go back to how do we feed our animals, what animal feed in chicken and in cows is used. There's a lot of enzymes in that. And there can be a lot of nasty things used in that feed. So if you can replace it with an enzyme that's more natural and that allows that chicken to grow healthier, then the food that we're ingesting is also inherently better. And so our enzyme can be used at a larger level that's past today's conversation that we're working through in a way that affects the food system from the source, which is how do we feed the sources of protein better feed that allows them to be a better source of protein. And then we're eating that chicken with our P24, and it's a full circle moment.
Full circle
Which
moment.
don't you? I love that for us and for
I love it for you. I love it for me. I love it for those of us who can't make ourselves eggs without having a mental breakdown. But I also love that you're literally going to solve world hunger.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Or figure out ways to at least help
address it
and help amplify the food system. Like, again, that started with a conversation at UC Davis with. They have 80% of our ag has derived from UC Davis in some way.
Mm-hmm.
It's a huge education system that works. And if you've ever been up to Davis, California, it's just farms.
Mm-hmm.
And so working with the farmers, they're like, look, we're never going to overhaul the full system. But how can we all work together to help optimize and amplify in places that is doable?
Yeah.
And so it's like taking little bites and trying to help. So that's really important to this company and to what our scientists founded and to the enzyme, and why I think it's so different than any other supplement or thing out there is that it's our own technology that we could think about so many ways to deploy it. We're starting with, and we'll always be focused on human nutrition, and products that help people have better nutrition at its core. And we'll also think about other ways that we can help the entire food system. But we are a protein nutrition focused company with a lot of runway, a lot of places to go. But it's so exciting.
It is truly exciting. Well, congratulations on everything. And I'm going to pivot to some rapid fire questions that have nothing to do with protein.
Okay, I'm excited.
Candles or incense?
Candles all day long.
Botox or bangs?
Botox.
Cardio or weights?
Weights.
Scent, are you musky and woody or bright and floral?
Ooh, I used to be musky and woody, but I will say as I age, I'm going more bright and floral.
Really?
It's a weird opposite
Usually
transition.
it's more the opposite.
Yes.
That's cool. Coffee or matcha?
Coffee.
Coffee or Diet Coke?
Coffee.
Early bird or night owl?
Early bird.
What is a scent that immediately calms or comforts you?
Jasmine.
What are you doing, taking, practicing, listening to, watching that gets your endorphins going?
I've been reading a lot of autobiographies, which is the most boring, weird answer. But autobiographies of people who've started their own businesses. So I think right now, really studying how people have built their businesses over time, it gives me this endorphin rush or energize of like, you can do it too.
What are your 3 tips for living well?
Sleep. Sleep. No.
Just keep sleeping.
So I would say sleep, curiosity, and doing something that brings you joy. I think are really overlooked if you think of the wellness space, and we're focusing on like getting your steps in and getting your protein in, which we all should be doing.
Right.
But pay attention to those little things too that you can do that are a big piece of
And that's free,
wellness.
by the way.
And all of those are free.
Mm-hmm.
And then take P24 to optimize.
And if you do want to take P24 to optimize all of those things, optimize your joy and your protein, where can people find it?
You can find it at amplifyme.com. So we're direct to consumer. And we hope in the coming years that you'll find us on shelves in retail along with some other products. But right now, amplifyme.com to learn more and to discover how to amplify your life.
Amplify your protein, amplify your life. Well, thank you so much for being here today. This was like, I feel like I just got like a PhD in science.
Oh, you're so sweet. Thank you for having me.
I don't even know what the study is called, but just learned a lot. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining us for another episode of Livin' Well, and we'll see you next time. Livin' Well is hosted by me, Melissa Magsese. Our senior producers are Jordan Patterson and Hannah Matner. Our associate producer is Sarah Kitnick. Our video director is Julia McCabe. Our director of post-production is Patrick Stewart. Our senior sound recording engineer is Nick Norton. And motion graphics by Dougal Henkin. Our video editor is Hannah Matner. Ben Church is our senior coordinating producer. And Anne-Marie Hauser is our production manager. Our podcast marketing and social media manager is Bella Martinez. Our general counsel at LA Times is Jeff Glasser. Special thanks to President and Chief Operating Officer of the Los Angeles Times, Chris Argenteri, and Executive Editor of the Los Angeles Times, Terry Tang. Livin' Well is created by LA Times Studios president Anna Magzanian and executive produced by Darius Derrickson and Flora Macari.